Hey guys, my name is Jessica, and if you're new here, welcome. Today I decided that I would talk about what to expect with your first trimester. So I've had 2 different pregnancies, and each time is a little bit different, and that is something to keep in mind. With every pregnancy, it's going to be completely different. They have some base things that you usually should keep in mind. But I figured what I would do is I would go ahead and tell you a little bit about what I experienced with both of them. And so I'll go through the list of things that they say. And then after that, I'll go ahead and tell you what I experienced. So if you like these type of videos, please like and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, so one of the first things that happens is they say that there could be potential bleeding. It says that 25% of women experience this bleeding, and it's like implantation bleeding. It's normal. I had it with my second pregnancy, just a little bit of spotting. It wasn't anything severe. It was just a little bit of spotting. And it wasn't, I know I was scared because I found out I was pregnant, and then I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm bleeding. Oh no, what am I supposed to do? Anyways, so it is normal for that to happen. So just keep that in mind. As long as it's just a light, like just spotting, it's supposed to be just a little bit, and you should be fine. And I'm really sick, so don't mind my voice. One of the biggest ones too, I know I experienced this with both pregnancies, is breast tenderness. I know it's probably TMI, but it totally happens, and that's one of the biggest things with it. It hurts so bad. Like, it just feels like I know with my daughter, my first pregnancy, I just felt like my chest was going to explode because there was like so much pressure there, and that continues. Like, I wish you would say that it didn't, but it totally does. So that's one of the biggest things that you're going to experience during the first trimester. And again, this might be TMI, but constipation happens too. Your hormones are out of balance and they're changing, so it's going to cause you to have some constipation, and it's just not fun. And you might feel bloated like you do during your periods and stuff like that. That's normal. It sucks. Just to sum that up, both times that happens, it kind of happens throughout your entire pregnancy. It's just the thing, and it's uncomfortable. If pregnancy itself isn't uncomfortable enough, let's just add that to it, But it happens. One of the biggest things they say is physical activity. Just go ahead and walk around, which is going to be really hard because you're probably not going to be feeling too well, so you're not going to want to walk around. But honestly, it's going to help you out a lot. I know with my first, that was something I didn't do, is I just was like, I felt awful sometimes. And so all I would do is I would just lay down and just be like, nope, I'm not doing anything. And that made that worse. So I would definitely say get up and move around, and if you have any sort of constipation issues. And that'll definitely help you out. Another big thing to keep in mind is that there could be potentially discharge. And I mean discharge, down there is going to be the problem. It says that it's normal for it to be thin and milky, and as long as it's just like thin and milky looking discharge, it's fine. If it starts to become like odd colored, like green or yellow or something like that, you need to go in and get that checked out, because that could be some sort of bacteria that you need to get checked out. But discharge happens. It happens throughout the pregnancy. It's not fun. It doesn't really affect you at all. It's just like another annoyance that you don't want to deal with on top of everything else you're dealing with. You don't want to deal with that as well. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Now, one of the biggest things that I know with both pregnancies was fatigue. I was so tired. I'm telling you, I was so tired with both of them. My first one, I would literally go to work and come home, and I was just ready to sleep. And I would sleep all day, all night, and I'm telling you, I probably would sleep probably 16 hours a day if I had the choice. I'd work in 8-hour shift, and I would come home and sleep all day. I don't know how I got anything done, but I usually would just sleep all day long, and that was with my first one. With my second one, it wasn't as bad, and it didn't help I had a toddler on top of it, so I couldn't sleep even if I wanted to. But I was tired all the time. I didn't get to sleep as much as I would have liked to. But it is what it is. I try to get her to take naps often so I could take naps, but it doesn't always work out for you. Food cravings. Food cravings are another really big one. Food cravings and food aversions with your first trimester especially. Now with my first, I had such bad food aversions that I can't even explain it. My food aversions were so bad that the only thing I was living off of were grapes and Cheez-Its. And not like normal Cheez-Its. It had to be like the big Cheez-Its, like the ones that are pretty big. It had to be that type or I wouldn't eat it. I don't know why. They don't taste any different than the small ones. But for some reason, that was the only thing I would eat my entire first trimester. I don't get it. My second one, I didn't really have any food aversions, but I was hungry all the time, and it didn't matter what it was. I just wanted to eat it. I put it in front of my face, I'm going to eat it. So first trimester, that's something to keep in mind with that is that the food aversions are going to be awful. Or food cravings. Food cravings happens throughout your entire pregnancy. Food aversions, I only experienced it first trimester, but it can continue. I worked in a warehouse at the time with my first pregnancy, and what it was is we would make food inside of these. It was like a factory, and it was so bad that I couldn't go anywhere near. We made chili in this factory, okay? And I could not go anywhere near the meat without just like wanting to throw up. I don't know what it was. It was just like I never had any issues with it before. But if I would smell that meat, which is kind of hard because like I worked right next to the meat section. But if I would go anywhere near that meat section, if I just got a whiff of it, I'd have to like run in hopes that I wouldn't throw up. Like, it was awful. I'm surprised I kept my job throughout the entire pregnancy, if I'm being honest. And if any of my coworkers during that time are watching, I'm sorry that I was a handful during my pregnancy, because I totally was. One more thing you need to keep in mind is that you're going to experience frequent urination. It happens, it's going to happen throughout your entire pregnancy. First and third trimester are by far the worst. I experienced it both times. It's just what it is. You're drinking more water, hopefully. You need to drink a whole bunch of water during your pregnancy because you need to make sure you're hydrated. So, of course, with that, you're going to need to go to the bathroom more. But also, your hormones are changing and you're having a little bit of pressure on your bladder area because there is a baby that's going in there. So you're going to have to go to the bathroom more often. Heartburn during first trimester. Some of these things continue throughout your entire pregnancy. So these are, what on my other videos, I'll touch on them too. But with me, I had heartburn. Heartburn wasn't awful during my first trimester. I just remember just not feeling well. With my first one especially. My second pregnancy, I was okay. I was just tired and I was moody. But my first one, I had heartburn. I was nauseous. I was tired. I was hungry, even though I would only live off of Cheez-Its. I don't know. But heartburn is one of those big things. So if you're experiencing heartburn during your pregnancy, just go ahead and try not to eat any acidic foods. Don't avoid greasy foods, acidic foods, spicy foods, anything that's going to cause heartburn. Just stay away from it. It's just going to make you better. And the problem is a lot of times during your pregnancy, there's only so many medicines that you can take and only a certain amount you can take. So even if you had heartburn, there's only so much you could take during it. It's not like you can go through a whole bunch of different stuff in hopes that it's going to get rid of it. So just make sure you try to stay away from those if you do experience heartburn. That'll help you out during your pregnancy. Now, mood swings. Mood swings are terrible during your first trimester. Well, kind of through the whole thing, but first trimester especially, because you don't feel well and your hormones are all out of balance. So honestly, you're going to be cranky, and you should probably just apologize to everyone around you at the beginning because it's not your fault. Honestly, it's not your fault. Like, you don't know what's going on and you're just moody because you don't feel well and your hormones are out of balance. And the thing is like, it is what it is during it. Like, you're going to have problems. You're going to be tired. You're going to be hungry. You're going to have hormone imbalance, all this stuff. So you're going to have mood swings. And it's going to affect some of the people around you. So, go through your mood swings and then just explain to them that you're sorry. You don't necessarily mean any of this stuff. but you can't help it. Like, you can't help that you're having mood swings, and because pregnancy by itself is a roller coaster of emotions. Like, you're gonna be okay one minute, and then the next minute you're just not, and that's how it is. So just keep that in mind, that it's going to happen, and don't worry about it. One of the biggest things that people tell you about your first trimester is morning sickness. I did not have morning sickness with my second at all, like, pretty much. I mean, I didn't have it during my first trimester, at least. Like, they always tell you these things like it happens just during the first trimester, and it doesn't. Like, my first trimester with my son, I didn't experience any, nausea or anything like that. Really what it was that I was just tired and I was hungry. And if I didn't eat like I needed to, or eat constantly, then I was nauseous. And that was one of those things. Now with my daughter, so my first pregnancy, I was nauseous pretty much the whole time. And like I said, I was working in a factory at the time. And so I was always nauseous just from the smell of stuff. Now when I would leave there, it wasn't as big of a problem. So it was smells that would make me nauseous. But besides that, I wasn't that bad. I know a lot of people have really bad morning sickness, and that happens. Just try to find things that are going to ease your stomach. Like, I know I have an aunt who, when she was pregnant, she would suck on mints, and it would get rid of her morning sickness. So maybe just try different things to, see if it'll help you. Find something that kind of eases that morning sickness. There might not be much, but look up different things to see if there is anything. It says to eat small bland meals during the day to try to ease that morning sickness. So eat several meals throughout the day. Like I said, like, if I was full in my second one, I had no problems with being nauseous. I just had to make sure I was always eating, and I made sure that it was a lot of like starchy stuff too. Like, I ate a lot of crackers and stuff like that, just like plain crackers, and I was constantly eating those because it would ease my stomach, and I never had any problems because I was constantly eating. Because I did learn with my first one that if I wasn't eating something, which was, by the way, one of the reasons I was eating Cheez-Its as much as I was, but that was one of those reasons that I was eating constantly, was to try to make sure I wasn't nauseous, because that is just a nuisance, and no one likes to be nauseous all the time. It's so uncomfortable. Now, lastly, one of the biggest things that you need to keep in mind is that there is going to be weight gain. Of course, you're planning on there being weight gain, but you just need to keep in mind that it's natural. You're probably going to be like, crap, like, I'm gaining weight, but you are planning for a baby, and you might not be gaining weight. Like, okay, so with my first pregnancy, I had no problems with weight gain. I honestly did not gain much weight at all. Now, with my second pregnancy, I ended up losing weight, but that was because I was overweight to begin with. But, like, I was losing weight in weird spots. So, like, I was losing weight in, like, my arms and my legs and stuff like that. But my belly was getting, like, weirdly shaped, if that makes sense. It wasn't, like, bulging out. Like, I don't know. It's so weird to explain. Like, it just was weird. And that's something you need to keep in mind, is things are just going to be weird throughout your first trimester. So one of the biggest things is that you're going to be gaining weight. You need to keep in mind that you are eating for two. So gaining weight is completely normal. And it might not be the weight you're hoping to gain, because honestly, during your first trimester, your little baby bump probably isn't going to come in. I know both times I was not showing until like 6 months. And that's how it was. I don't know why that happened, but I honestly went from like nothing to a big belly overnight. And it was not fun, because it was like a big stretch right at the very end. But anyways, that was what I experienced. So I gained weight, but I gained weight other places. Like, I gained weight a little bit in my stomach, but it wasn't like a baby bump. It was just looking like I was getting fat. Like, if I'm being honest, I just looked like I was getting fat. And sometimes that's what happens. That's how it is. It is what it is. So just keep in mind that you don't feel weird about yourself. You're growing a baby inside you, and it might just be weird weight gain at the very beginning. If you experience heavy cramping, severe bleeding, rapid weight loss or weight gain, or dizziness during your first for your first trimester, make sure you go ahead and get checked out. That's something you need to watch out for, definitely, during your first trimester. I have said before that I lost weight during my second pregnancy, and it's true, but I didn't do severe weight loss during that time. I just slowly lost the weight. and it's normal to an extent. They weren't ever concerned with the weight I was losing, so it wasn't a big deal because I was overweight to start with. So then I ended up at a normal weight when during the first trimester. So if you like these type of videos, please give it a thumbs up. I'm going to be doing the second round of this next week, so keep a watch out for your second trimester and what to expect. So I hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks. Bye.